communities. We have Salini. Salini is actually doing PhD in life sciences at University of Hyderabad, and and looking at network of neurons in grasshoppers which are possibly involved in communication. Now let me sort of invite our next speaker, Salini. Salini, of course, is currently probably completing the PhD in life sciences at University of Hyderabad. Of course, she's also looking at a network of neurons in grasshoppers which are possibly involved in communication. So, without much ado, let me request Salini to give her presentation. Yeah, Salini.
Yes. Hi. Hello, everyone. I'm Shalini, and thank you for inviting me to talk today. And it's been really nice listening to everyone, and I feel very important things have been said already. And I want to say that I wanted to start with this. You know, what kept coming to my head when I heard this was, "We have not come here to die." It was a very powerful statement made in the movie, the documentary, which was based on Rohit. And I just really want to say we have not come here to die because, when I heard what was said in the class, and the first thing that came to my mind was, I repeat again here, that language wise, I've been sort of like, fluent simply because I live in this Hyderabad and I went to an English medium school. So the first thing that came to my head was, oh my God, I didn't have to go through that. That's the first privilege that I thought of to myself when I heard that. And the other thing I thought of was, I don't know if I would have survived if I was in that classroom, because given my anxieties and how worrisome I am about performance, basically performance anxiety, because you have to perform, right, in multiple ways. So these are the two things that came to my mind. And another thing that came to my mind was how this is like, it's very similar the way schooling or whatever was being done there, the stressed talk by the professor, is that it felt like, how children are taught at homes for tuitions, especially in India, or in some schools, how teachers behave in a classroom full of small children, because children are not going to remember everything and go and, like, tell parents, or it's not going to be a big deal, basically. And somewhere we know that children need to be corrected, so kuch bhi chalta hai, whatever makes it work. That's the assumption with the Indian education, actually, and I have issues with that already. And that's what I felt when I saw this preparatory class for students who are already needing help, and help to study, that I've come here to study. I've come here to study, to educate myself, not to die of insults, of shame, of all this other buljas that comes with it. And I would have felt, I'm so happy that such a class is there. And, because if I was a student having to do all this, my biggest concern would have been, oh my God, I have to now study things which are not which are being instructed in a medium I'm not good at, and then it's being taken care of. I would have felt like Twinkle Twinkle Little Star, like it's a very wonderful world, Alice in Wonderland kind of jazz, like everything is taken care of, it seems like, and you go and then this is happening. Uh, God knows what someone would have been through to get till that point where you even enter such a campus, like an IIT campus, right? It's a lot of stress. I don't have to talk about the kind of stress people have to go through to crack through an IIT or any entrance for that matter. Uh, because every entrance someone is cracking through, especially from the marginalized or other communities who find it difficult to enter such spaces. What are you offering them in the name of inclusivity, in the name of helping out, this, that? We are entering these spaces, and we are very grateful you're giving us your time, you're trying to understand, and the result is something else altogether. You're sitting there and, like, they are just telling you, "Fuck, just go back, you're not fit, you're unfit," and, like, enough of that already. We are unfit, that's why you're giving us this class, and again you're going to tell me to go away. Then how am I going to survive this degree? This is what I kept thinking when I heard this episode actually. And then therefore I felt we have not come here to die. I would have felt like dying because I really would have, and no wonder many students commit suicide in these kind of high performance institutes, I feel. Because let's talk about the stress this professor felt. I'm extremely stressed because, like I already said before, there is a like multiple stresses occurring when you're from the marginalized. I don't know, like if you're a woman, parents are not allowing you to go and stay here, perhaps, and if I might not have food or money, I'm not belonging there, everything is tough, I don't know if I'll survive, I don't know if I will perform and I will excel, hoping that I am going to excel, I'm here, and all of this other things I'm having to do, extra things, right? A lot more extra is there to do. There's hardly any time. I'm extremely stressed, and with that stress, I'm sitting in the classroom. This is not what I've come here for. That you are going to add more stress and tell me that this is not possible for you. And how are we going to talk about stressor of a grandparent's loss versus your stress of having to teach in a class? These are the kind of questions I kept arguing myself with, and I just wanted to say that. And I agree with everyone who has said before that the only reason these things happen, I feel, is because it's taken for granted. There is no criminalization. There is discrimination. It has the word criminal in itself by to some extent, at least, but this criminalization is not there. We all know how harassment cases also keep going on campuses. Let's talk about that also. All these gendered experiences, which are harassment in largely, and mostly people are getting away. At least, and because it's very difficult. What I'm understanding it as is that with, I mean, this versus not having Rohit Act is that despite having a system which is going to help me sort of get some sense of justice, especially in a space like academia, where when I started coming to campus during my masters, I felt, oh my god, this is a place where everyone is thinking of just what they want to do and not other things, and it's been very disorienting to realize it's actually the same like the rest of the world. It's just doing it in different ways. So I am coming here in academia and all this is happening, and like, how am I going to justify surviving here without finishing these degrees, with all these stressors, with all these mental problems anyways we face, you know? And I'm sorry, I'm really sorry. So with despite having these systems in place, women who are getting harassed, or anyone who is getting harassed for that matter, we know that it's becoming falling into this due process kind of thing. So I don't know if we have SCST Atrocities Act happening, Rohit Act in place. And let us not even, like, people don't even talk about, the harassment that trans and queer people go through, and the mental health problems that stigmatizes everyone, and how that affects, how you perform in campuses again. We don't even have things in place for these things, and I'm continuously being told it's a very slow process. I mean, despite having some acts in place, it's still such a slow process that people are still getting away with things. So wherever they feel, we can get away, they are just exercising these things. So which is why I feel implementing Rohit Act is something we just cannot neglect, and therefore have more acts for every kind of discrimination that happens. Because if not in academia, where else am I going to expect in the world that these kind of things are going to be thought about uh, in a healthy way? I mean, my understanding of a campus or an institute space or an education space is a space where people are liberating themselves of all these thoughts and kind of trying to come up with things that are going to be useful, not pull you down. This is one more sad thing that I have had to learn, that it is not what I thought it is. I'm also very naive, so it actually makes sense. And because I thought, all you need to do is study, focus, and that will take care of everything. And that's not enough. Another thing I wanted to say is that it feels like, another thing I thought of when I heard this was that, okay, so this is a classroom where she was supposed to help everyone. And she's finding it stressful to do this. And no one is talking about the stress that the students have to go through, listening to all of this these kind of insulting remarks and what kind of things happen to students who are struggling already to work, that it feels like it's a very mutual thing, not being able to help and not getting the help you need. I feel like if this is the situation and you're saying that, we are creating space for you to come and study with us so that, we understand that you have these issues and therefore reservation and therefore la 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 la. But it looks like in practice it's not really happening. Everything which needs to be in place is in place, and despite all of this, we have issues. So then I feel like, you just give us our own universities. Just the same way you have universities just like that everywhere. Let us have some, marginalized universities for marginalized people. We will function ourselves. We will teach how we need to teach what. I mean, at least it would be better. No? I'll employ people who want a job to teach and who are willing to teach people the way it needs to be taught. That is, I mean, it might feel funny, but that's the only funniest but bestest solution I felt. And it feels sad that I even thought of such a thing, that the solution would be having your own universities, your own publishing houses, your own thing for everything, because these people are not getting it. And in the name of getting it, they're making it worse. This is not what I've come here for, and I've not come here to die. That's all I want to say. And thus, I want to stop with that. I don't like, yeah, that's all I want to say.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Shalini, for that intriguing thought. I mean, leaving us with that intriguing thought that we are not here to die. I'm going to sort of, stay with it.
Because again and again, whenever I talk about anything that happens in campuses, right, any sad thing, and the first thing is, if it's happening in campus, then where else can I expect? Because law fails us, obviously, in a lot of ways, and these are supposed to be these stalwart intellectual community, a clique, like very exclusive people who liberated, whatever. Like it has a lot of other meanings, right? And that other cloud, it just is invisible. It's very astounding for me.
Yeah, right.
So, and every time I feel, if you're going to keep doing this, like you're pushing us to die, and it looks like if another person doesn't die, then Rohit's act won't come. Like we have to keep dying or what? And I want to say we have not come here to die.
Yeah. That's again.
Only then you'll take us seriously. Like.
Yeah, as what really basically matters to them, not a Dalit who is alive, but a Dalit dead body, which is what they really want.
Just dead bodies, actually. A few dead bodies across the space, and I don't know. I'm sorry for talking like this, but it just feels like, to be taken seriously, something very dramatic has to happen.
Yes,
people need a lot of drama, I feel. Yeah. And I just keep thinking, can we do this without all of this drama?
Yeah.
And you want us to be nice, right? Like, you want us to be nice.
This basically reminds me of, again, the university where you are now, where I was a student during from 2012, 10 to 12, and JNU, where you have ASA, you have BSF, the Bahujan Student Front, and in JNU you have UDSA, BAPSA. That I'm trying to tell you, the Dalit Bahujan Students Front, Dalit Adivasi Bahujan, the minority students front. Those are basically articulating their worldview, the alienation, and trying to sort of interrogate the institutional structure. But then these are also spaces where we talk a lot about caste-based discriminations. Also, these are those liberal bastions where the casteist mindset of the Savarna professors are articulated in a very, very subtle way, and you have, once you start talking to them in a very, very deep way on issues like merit, reservation, so it all comes out. So they just
every discussion is due process kind of discussion.
Yeah,
so it will be dissected. Like
so they always would be like would be looking at saying like a feminist, not like an intersectional feminist.
exactly.
So yeah, I know, and
Like how some just now someone said like
I
proving
remember Aya's.
discrimination is so difficult,
Yeah.
and that's what made me think that yes, everything proving is so difficult, and I have to
Yes.
prove.
Yeah. So, and that is what is basically exported across the world, and caste has become a global phenomenon. And thanks uh, to the Savarnas, that they have truly made the IITs, the universities, the top institutes, as as just another, kind of, I'm sorry to say, the caste society, within a blocked campus.
Yes,
Anyways, thank you so much, Salini,
yes,
for
yes.
telling us those, and I understand, having coming from that background. So.